LTS.
Kick back, relax, and enjoy the LTS podcast.
My best friend.
Welcome to LTS podcast. Today, we left out Marcos and replaced it with Marco. We have special guests. We have... How many guests, Marcos, do we have?
Herman.
No, I said how many?
3.
Okay. Well, since Marcos already introduced one, we have... And the order doesn't matter. So we got Herman.
What's good?
We got Marco.
Buenas.
And we got Omar.
Hola.
And of course, we have Marcos. On my right.
Ohio.
All right. So how you guys doing?
And shortly, Alan, hopefully.
Oh yeah, Alan. Well, when he comes, he comes.
Giggity.
So yeah, how you guys doing?
I'm doing good.
All right, good to know.
Doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Doing just being myself.
All right. Anyone else?
Happy. Living. Chilling.
He's like fulfilling.
Being
Living
chilling.
life to the fullest.
Is that all? Not going above and beyond? Plus ultra?
From the hood to the good. Alright? From the hood to the good. And that's how we're keeping it.
All right then. So Marcos, you want to set on a topic? Or do you want me to start it?
Go for it, Jose.
Okay. So you don't want to start with the question of the day?
No. That's for the middle.
Okay. All right. So today, our first topic is the amount of money you guys owe. No, I'm kidding. No, okay. So I think for the most part, the majority of us here are gamers, right, Omar?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
All right. So with that case, I think for the most part, what do you guys play on? Do you guys play on PC or console?
Console.
Okay. So this might be a topic for you guys. The heated debate, the war has started on this topic here is of, what's better to play with, the keyboard and mouse or the controller? Me personally, I have ascended donkey. I have played with both. These hands. I have played with both, and I feel like they're both good, but they have their flaws. Me personally, though, it depends. I feel like if I want to, be more invested into it, I like keyboard and mouse, just because of precision. But if I'm just messing around, then controller, I think is the way to go. What do you guys think?
Controller, same here too. There goes right.
What happened?
The controller.
Why? Explain
More
it.
comfortable.
You like it more comfortable?
Yeah, it's more comfortable.
Does it massage your fingertips?
No, but it works. I'm used to it.
It works?
That's all.
All right, what about German?
So PlayStation 1, 2, and then the 3, and then the 4, and now the 5.
What about German?
I'm gonna stay with controller because that's what I grew up with. I feel more comfortable. There's I say PC. Talking about PC and keyboard and mouse. Mouse has more advantage on when you like you said precision. Can't even speak, and then the controller is more having fun, But then at the same time, controllers is dirt. One flaw I see of a controller is aiming. You can't aim right because the recoil in certain games is way off. While PC, you can actually fix that just by aiming downward sometimes with the mouse. So, but personally, I'll go with the controller. Person.
What about Omar?
Well, it all depends on how you grew up with. Since we're all gamers, we all like to be in our comfortable ways. Me personally, I choose the controller because that's what I grew up with. And you know, if you're a gamer, you go with whatever fits your style perfectly. So it doesn't really. I don't think it has. Everyone has their own preferences. But me, I grew up with a controller, so I'm gonna stick with a controller. Yeah.
Hey,
Wow, that's debating.
Controller game. But
Yo.
you know,
I mean, so would you believe in the statement of for FPS shooters, keyboard and mouse is better, but for say like an RPG or like a single player game, controllers are better to have.
Controllers are better on the RPG.
Controller.
I say mouse is more for first person shooter game.
So this following statement is not based on Marcos, go ahead. You have
Hasn't there been like more like a recent improvement on the controllers recently, like in Halo 5 and all those things within the past 2 years? That like there's been like more assistance, aim assist for FPS shooters.
Well, yeah, because I mean, you really look at it. Most of the famous people that are gamers, they complain about the controller, so they try to make it as comfortable for the controller
level.
Be replaying.
Yeah, Marcos.
Yes.
Yeah, the PlayStation Plus, the PlayStation Pro controller, that one came out too, and they made it more comfortable for people that break their, they be breaking the analog sticks. So now they give you a chance to fix that out.
Oh yeah, did you ever get yours?
Swappable? Like swappable?
Yeah, you can swap it now. It's swappable now. And you can control the density, the strength on the top of L1, R1, R2, and L2. So you be able to make it heavy, or you can make it soft, so you can shoot faster and stuff.
You could adjust it through the phone, right?
Mm-hmm. And you could just
No way.
So get this. What I've been hearing in the internet of things, not the topic, but like just the internet. I heard that it varies between what type of players we're talking about. For example, if we're talking about like the typical gamer, like German over here, right? Is what? I'm not saying you're bad. It's just like you're all like on a scale from what I've known is like you're the average gamer. You could be. I'm not saying you're bad or good. It's just that you do it. You play almost casually,
right?
Almost, of course, but you do play a lot.
Yeah.
In that space or in that area of people, you can see the difference between when someone's using a keyboard or when someone's using a controller, because like you said, typically the keyboard and mouse have a little bit or have better accuracy than say the controller, even without aim assist. That's a whole different thing.
There's times where you've seen it yourself, Jose, when you play Apex together or when you play a video game together, you can see it too, that every time I get killed or something, either I say controller player or I say mouse player, because it's like you could tell the difference. You could see the difference.
Now the how it gets meshed, because we're talking about professional players. That is like it's kind of the same, because obviously these people have been playing to the max, and since they're at that level where they're competing with each other, they're virtually the same level. Because obviously, there's limits. It's like, you can't be in a tournament if you're not say a certain rank. And at that point, it's like, well, where do you see the difference? These people are shooting headshots. These people are shooting headshots, and there's not really any big difference like if you were seeing the casual players. So it's just like, and it's really hard because the professional players are the ones that kind of gear the market to any changes in either keyboards and mouse or controllers. Because if they say there's like a problem with controllers, then the manufacturer's gonna be like, oh, okay, we gotta fix it. But if like one or two people say it, then it's like, oh, who cares? It's like they only make up less than 1% of our market, of our revenue. So it's like, why does it matter? It doesn't. It's not until like say everyone, or like say 80% of the people are like, oh, this is actually bad. They're like, okay, yeah, we have to change it. So it's like, what I'm trying to get to is that I think what matters is how well do you play in each scenario. It's like if you play better with a keyboard or mouse than you do with a controller, then yeah, you stick with that one. And then also the factor of like which one you grew up with. Like for you guys, you grew up with PlayStation's I guess 2 to 5.
Yeah.
So it's obviously you grew up with that, and then you're more comfortable with controller.
PlayStation. Yep, with you.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at I say let's say the bigger gamers, right? Like you said, when they complain, all they want is to switch up everything, right? That's how, like I said, when it comes down to game wise, it's easier for controller players lately because, like I said, the popular players complain, oh, this is horrible, this is bad, you gotta fix this, and the companies that make the controllers are like, oh, you know what, they're complaining, you know, and people listen to them because they're basically I say they're in a way famous, you know, they're famous, so
Yeah.
people are gonna follow
Trendsetters.
yeah, basically, and then they're gonna buy whatever we make for the player to feel comfortable with, and then there's ad revenue, you know, gamers, like, you know, they get PC or I say PlayStation or Xbox, and then all Xbox is better than PlayStation or PC is better than PlayStation, you know, so that's what everybody's looking for. Which system, which console is better, you know, to play with, and most of the time everybody goes to PC when it comes out to version of FPS, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It depends though, because they be making the controllers cheaper, so they break it more and more people buy. They make more money if you think about it.
I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah, if you think about that, they make the controllers easier to break. This is my third controller. I already broke like one PS5 controller like in 2 weeks. Nah, but not
hard in the games.
No, and even if you press it hard, it just breaks easy. Even the PS4 controllers, PS3, PS2, you know, even Xbox controllers, they all break.
I have a question. Since to Joshua and Marco, since you guys have PC, I have a question. How long do you guys take to change your mouse?
I literally changed it before recording this mouse that I just had.
How long does it take?
Like nothing. Like 5 seconds. I hot swapped it.
No, but like
Oh,
how
he
long
means-
does
he means
your
like-
mouse last?
Yeah.
Oh,
And not battery wise, like life wise.
Yeah, till it starts to get bad. Basically,
Good question.
like just self-destruction. You tell me.
this one's actually been an anomaly. It's lasted me 5 years. The one they just had to swap out today.
Okay, now look at
as
this.
of the
Now-
recording.
Now look at this. My P4 controller, right? Well, I had to go buy a lot down the line. Max, at least I had to change it 5 months, 6 months. 5 to 6 months. At least. That's if I don't drop it constantly.
It also depends on your wear and tear. Like a controller, you're not going to do anything but actually do game stuff versus a computer and mouse. I don't think that actually supports my statement, actually. And it supports
And then-
yours more, if anything.
There you go. Yeah, so I mean, mouses last longer than controllers. So like Marco just said, you know, that's why they make them cheaper for then when they break.
I mean, but you can also put in the factor of like which mouse do people use for gaming, because
Amen.
like for example, the mouse that Marcos has, what do you have?
I don't know. I just got it out of the box. It's like an Amazon Basics little cheapo mouse.
Yeah, and like don't get me wrong, there's probably gonna be people that are gonna use cheap mouses,
$8
but
at most.
you know, there's also like gamer mouses out. Like for example, I have a what is this called?
Little
SteelSeries
flex over
Rival
there.
700.
$700
Oh, wow.
right there.
And this one was a little bit, I like to call it a gimmicky mouse. It is gaming, but like it has like swappable
Picture
the
for
laser,
the IG
the laser
also.
that is used to detect motion. I can swap that. I can swap out the back. I can swap out the cable. So this one's made to last a little
It's
bit longer.
wired.
Yeah.
But you see, that's able to last longer than P4 or P5 controller.
Yo,
Yeah.
Marco, if anything, you think you could share a picture of your broken controller? Like broken dreams. That's the meme right there. Broken controller, broken memes versus whole
I
sway
know,
is like
yeah, I think like, because even I have the PS5 controller, and I'm like, the one that comes in the box, I feel like it feels cheaper than the one I have that Marcos gave me.
And let me tell you this, and if you look at it too, it depends on the person also when it comes out to controllers. Because sometimes I'm a person that likes to dig into my buttons. You know what I'm trying to say? Like when I press it, I press it hard because it's like at the moment you're not realizing it. Because whenever I play Apex or whenever I play a game where I'm at the go, crazy in it, I start pressing it hard and I'm like, and I focus on that. And then the second I realize I kind of mess with the button or I mess with the analog stick. So you get what I'm trying to say there? So it also depends on the player too, because sometimes you see the players, they get angry, right? They go rage and start throwing everything, especially the keyboard. The keyboard, they start slamming it. So it also depends on the player on how long you can abuse that controller, or the mouse or the keyboard. So just think about it like that too.
No, but then again, you're like you said, I think there's clips of like people that like boom, boom, like whenever they rage at it. Punch the screen, or just like start banging the keyboard,
or the controller or something. They throw everything everywhere.
And like, don't like, I feel like there's probably more customization with a keyboard because there's companies out there that sell each individual part you need to make a whole keyboard. But it's more money, but like, say if a switch breaks, I could just buy
a new one,
or I'll have like a whole pack of switches and I'll just swap them.
Sounds like you're looking for one.
Imagine. But and like, if say the PCB breaks, I'll just buy another one and swap it out.
Yeah,
there you go.
But of course, that's money. That's like easily people will spend like $2,000 on a keyboard.
Jesus, that's a computer right there.
Exactly.
Yo, and Marcos, my bad to interrupt, but since you guys like using PC, what do you guys prefer, like a regular PC to play games or a gaming PC, or does it make a difference? Go ahead, Marcos.
Gaming PC, because I don't only like I used to game a lot, but right now my passion has been rendering, so it's PC and mainly GPU intensive. So that's my passion, and right now with as of 2022 models, they've been integrating something low-key. It's been integrating something with the GeForce experience into the gaming, into business enterprise style. That's some back-end stuff, but I was saving up for this situation to happen. It's the first generation. It's going to be iffy, but they're integrating professional industry standard drivers for content creation or engineering with gaming, to the sense that the 3080, if you will, the one that I'm using for the laptop model, they're integrating whatchamacallit, drivers to be to the regular Joe Schmo like me, and also be able to game optimally. So this is the first, after now it's into the 40 series, but the 30 series is the first one that I noticed that is optimizing both professional and enterprise drivers versus gaming drivers into one driver. And that I was like, this is the time for me to jump in the sense of, and obviously it's a laptop. I'll share later if you guys are interested in the kind of laptop that I bought. But let me just say this:
I might see it.
It's discontinued.
Let us know.
It's discontinued because it's sold out.
Wow. And how about you?
Well, mine, I guess you could say, is discontinued.
I mean, you custom built it.
Yeah, I custom built mine. Well, like I say that it's discontinued because my graphics card is no longer being in service or on sale anymore. They the company that makes it broke their contract with NVIDIA, or like it stopped. Like it expired and they didn't renew it.
What's the
AVGA?
Yeah, rest in peace.
So they stopped making cards for NVIDIA, and I think they've already sold out all of their stock. So
what about driver support?
Oh yeah, driver support does run through NVIDIA. Firmware is like, if there's any firmware issues, yeah, they'll do support of that. But I mean, for sale of these cars, nope. Unless you buy a reseller, buy it from a reseller, then other than that, there's no more of these cards. But yeah, I mean, everything else is like, everything else is still on sale. Like you can still get the AMD CPU, you can still get the RAM, the motherboard, you can still get everything else.
The motherboard, yeah.
Nice. So if you guys are PC players, do you guys prefer to buy name brands, or you guys prefer to make your own at your own customization the way you guys want to.
Well, you mean like buy the parts and then make it yourselves?
Yeah, like create your own PC or buy name brand PCs that are like gaming or whichever one you prefer.
Well, I like to I don't mind making it, like assembling it, not exactly like manufacturing it. I like assembling it better because I know what goes into my PC. So there's no bloatware, there's no like random. Do you want to subscribe to what's it called, McAfee? The internet security thing that no one installs.
That's true. There's
or
something
like,
that you don't need.
or like the random, like the Candy Crush app on the Windows Store. You know, it's like the Windows Store is still on my computer, but I don't like it doesn't show me ads for that. I think the only thing it shows me is
For
what
this
I've
latest
opened.
version of Windows?
For me, yeah, because I don't have the version that they make for like say HP or Dell. If you have those versions, there's gonna be like pop-ups coming up in your start menu that say like, oh, you can get this game. It's also the Windows Store, but for me, it doesn't pop up.
Just
Nice.
to elaborate, for me, I'm in the same I'm on the same side as Josue, but I pay for it to be assembled or upgraded.
Oh, okay.
My last two.
I have another
yeah.
question.
Yes, yes.
Oh wait, no, go on. My fault. That's my fault.
My last two computers, this one and the last one that I had, are custom built, but they're built by a company and they ship it to me.
Okay.
Wait, it's your latest computer?
Yep.
That's
They
Is it custom built?
They, in the sense that they added more
It's not
storage
custom
and more
built.
RAM.
You made modifications to
Yes,
it through
yes.
the supplier, which
third-party
is
supplier, yeah.
ASUS.
No, it's another company. I'm not gonna say it. I'll share it later. I shared you the email. I shared you the screenshot.
Oh, really? Let me
Yeah,
see.
but
Yeah,
don't
go
say
ahead.
the name.
You don't want to say the name? You don't want to give them a plug-in?
Okay, it's called Exotic.
Exotic.
Oh.
Exotic, huh? Yes.
Oh, Alan, welcome back. Welcome.
Hey, how you doing?
Here,
Sounds
what's
pretty.
going on, guys?
We were
What's
talking.
up?
We were talking about PC versus consoles, Alan. What's your stance in of controllers versus keyboards?
Well, it depends what you're doing, right? I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
I think some things are optimized for for a controller, and then others might be optimized for using a keyboard. So, really depends, I guess.
And the market of mice versus controllers right now. Marco told us that there's been an opening in what branch to hot swap. Hot swap your controllers, right, Marco?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hot swap.
On a new one,
Mm,
on a new controller.
So yeah, I also got another surprise story that is not it's gaming related, but it also involved the military.
Oh,
Whoa.
Elaborate.
So imagine this, right? Back in 2010, right? You're a little boy at this point. You're like you're like 10, 11, and the PS3 just came out, right?
New gen boy or old gen boy?
PS3.
Well, yeah.
Remember the older ones?
the big
Yeah.
fat one
The chunky one that like had everything, not the slim.
had everything.
I think PS3 only came in one flavor, right? It didn't have like
There was a slim
No,
version.
there was a slim version
Type
too.
2, right?
There was a slim version for the PS3.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was. I forgot how much it was, but yeah, there was a PS3 Slim. So basically, the difference between the two is that other than sizes, I think the Slim couldn't play PS2 games. But anyway, so back in 2010, the United States Air Force bought like a whole bunch of these PS3s. Because at this point, the resources to make like say supercomputers was way too expensive. They figured out that it would be cheaper to buy a whole bunch of PS3s, connect them, and then basically make them a supercomputer through PS3s.
Because of
So
the
we have
CPU.
here,
That's tough.
The research laboratory has completed what it calls a Condor cluster, a supercomputer made entirely of PlayStation 3's consoles. The Condor cluster, housed in Rome, New York. Oh wow!
Oh, East Coast, Beast Coast.
Reportedly has capability heads and tails above every other interactive computer in the Department of Defense. Made up of it's a lot of computers, a lot of PS3s. 1,760 PS3 processors and 168 general-purpose processors. The Condor cluster provides extreme power for its relatively low cost. It has the ability to calculate 500 trillion floating point operations. So teraflops, T-flops. But was made for $2 million thanks to the cost of the PS3. Mark Barnold, the director of the Air Force Research Laboratory High Power Computing Division, says this is a cost savings of between 10 to 20 times the equivalent capability. It is also 1/10 of the power of a comparable supercomputer, apparently making it green. So
what?
So they roughly saved over 10-20 times what it should have cost to make an actual supercomputer, and then it's power efficient, so it's for their green ecosystem approach.
Politics.
Yeah, but I think they mostly went for we'd rather spend the money on over 1,700 PlayStation 3s than make a whole supercomputer from scratch or have one ordered.
This is a lot. This is a lot. They supported an economy.
The Air Force will cut the ribbon. Oh, this is in the past, but they cut the ribbon to make it official in December 1st of 2010. And I don't know if they still have it. They probably still have it somewhere.
For the memes, they should still have it.
So this article is from 2010, but yeah, they spent I forgot how much. I don't even know how much.
$2 million.
Well, they said $2 million thanks to the cost. Yeah. So $2 million is
That's
what
nothing.
they spend.
Chump change.
Yes, for the military is nothing. They can easily spend I think Marcos has spread articles. Will they spend more $1 billion on one thing?
The F-35's upgrade package as of 2023. Guess how much, gentlemen?
$500 billion.
$15 billion.
Oh
Are you
man.
kidding me?
I bet you most of that was through R&D.
Tax money?
Yes. We're paying for that.
Oh yeah, we're paid. Yeah, but they spend. I think the military easily spends trillions of dollars through R&D alone.
Yeah, of our dollars.
Which for them is it's worth it. It's worth it because they're trying.
Yeah,
Sometimes
competing
does
with
projects
us.
though, you only finish it. You know that, right?
No one's competing with us yet.
What do you think,
But
Alan?
yeah, so the military from 2010, we're gamers.
1,000 of them at least.
I don't think we played any game because the way they're set up, it's all it's almost have you ever seen a server set up in a building
Looks like a
where
library
they have
place.
drives where you just pull them out? They
Base.
have them set up like that, so they have whole setups to hold the PS3s and to keep them cool, so the whole room is air conditioned and all that. I'm just guessing through this picture they have of the guy setting it up.
With an actual PS3 in there? Or just
Yeah,
the
the PS3's
motherboard?
in the back.
Radiation?
Huh?
You saying they put in radiation to us?
I thought that was just a microwave.
No. They have AC in the room to keep it cool.
Ventilation.
But yeah, guys, the military bought PS3s.
Nice.
I never thought military is big
Gamer.
game.
What do you guys
Gamer
think?
moves
Would you
down
buy
here.
1,700 PS5s?
Hell no.
No.
I mean, obviously that won't. I don't know. Nowadays, I don't think that would work out because I think.
I mean,
to
unless
make a
you're Mr.
supercomputer
Beast,
now-
right? And you're giving them away, maybe that's the only reason.
Oh, a charity
No, but
thing?
I think making a
Chatterable, yeah.
computer now is cheaper than buying that same amount of PS5s.
Can you
I
even
would have
grab
grabbed them and sold them for double because we're American, all right?
Scalping?
We're businessmen here. We're trying to get free.
Well, what's the price discrepancy or the difference between, like, say, if you live in Japan and you buy something that's made in your country, compared to buying it overseas?
Yeah, it's the materials. They make it cheaper, cheaper parts, cheaper cost.
Now?
Well,
Yeah.
you mean materials, yes, but like if you're like making the actual product in country, like yes, you're buying the materials outside, possibly outside the country, but the components are being made, or even the construction of the actual housing of that particular gaming console is going to be made in the country. So how much does that offset, right? So like another example, if you're gonna buy a car, right, maybe a Tesla or a EV, right, or if you're gonna do a Ford, if you want to buy something that's gasoline, it might cost less than if you were to buy a European car, right, like a BMW or an Audi or something of that nature. So I think maybe it might cost a little less if you were in the country of origin. Now, whether you want to buy 500 PS5s, I don't know. It's a little wild.
Like Josue said, it's not as efficient anymore because there's already a logistics change for that, even for R&D, even probably.
I think, like, number one for now, if they want to like do the same approach now, the issue is the PS5 has been out of stock for a while now.
Oh, you just didn't even get it, yeah.
Is that because of the chipsets as well?
Yeah,
another beast.
But even then, is like I think it'll be cheaper if they like made a solution through whatever company they want.
I mean, you can get an emulator, right, of a lot of these old consoles. You think that's going to be like the next step for PS5?
The issue wasn't like the software. The issue is like the components inside the PS3 is what made it like more valuable to them. So basically, they bought that out because they realized that the components they have in there is what they needed, and it was cheaper than to say buy like the chips by themselves with the housing and everything.
Oh, I guess that's a happy surprise, right? Or a weird surprise for them. Where it's like, let's just, instead of buying, I guess you could say equipment that's made for what we need, let's just buy PS3s and get this.
And then modify it to what we needed to it.
Right. Oh, Marcos, what's up, bro? My fault.
Last point, Marcos.
Another example is the again from the government is NASA, when they spent over $1 million in making a toilet to work in NASA, or even the $10,000 screwdriver or pen, and they didn't expect it to work for one of the Apollo missions to complete the circuit. And the joke over in engineering classes was, and like in a Russian accent, why do I need to make a $1,000 pen when I can do the same thing with pencil?
Right.
But they were able to complete the circuit. They didn't expect it to work the same way. It's just little coincidences.
That's bureaucracy at its best.
I think like
though.
that's like the whole drive to like R&D. Because aren't like if what I've experienced is this is like if you're comparing, say, I like to compare R&D to what you learn in class, right? In class, there's already a set solution that you can get there. So no matter what class, if it's like an English class, a literature class, even though that can be skewed a little bit, there's always a solution to what you're given. So in this case, the tasking would be, what's your homework? You got your multiplication tables where you're like, okay, 5 times 2 is, whatever. There's always either a one right answer or a set of answers already found. For R&D, it's like, well, first of all, what do you like? You say, okay, you have what you don't know and what you want. How do you get there? And for the most part, I feel like for either engineers, researchers, or whatever, they're like, I don't know. So this is what we do know. We can start from here and then branch out from there, because it's like we really don't know. It's like
unknown
we can
territory.
give them an idea of what we can go to. Like say, hey, look, this is what we have. This is what we want. This is an idea of how we can approach it, but we're not exactly sure this will work. And it's like you're gonna have to just believe them like that, because there's nothing else you can really do. So when you see like the ridiculous numbers of the toilet working in space, where you said, Marcos?
Yeah. $1 million, a $10 million toilet.
It's like, name me another toilet that can do the same.
That can work in 0 G.
They have a bidet feature on that.
Name me a person that knows how to make it work. If say there's already a set solution, they're like, yeah, in this case, the PS3 is like, why do we want to spend X amount of money on R&D for this solution if we have something that's similar to it? All we need to do is modify a few bolts and screws and thermal paste here, wiring here, and then boom, there you go. This is a lot cheaper, and a lot less time is wasted from this
to actually do the job that we want.
Exactly.
Right.
It's like, why reinvent the wheel if there's a solution already exists?
That's some beautiful thing right there, Oscar.
But I think,
this is the reason why is like R&D is so expensive, because there's nothing, there's no background information. There's nothing. There's like little hints, but you really have to just think outside the box.
That's a good point, Josue. And I'm just thinking right now for R&D, as far as the toilet seat or the toilet goes, I think in that particular situation, or the pen, but more specifically in the toilet situation, I think it's a little bit, not weird, but a little more sophisticated than that, just because, and I can be wrong, please correct me if I'm wrong on this one. I think that one of the reasons that it costs so much money in order for them to develop that toilet or that system in the toilet was because it has to deal with, I guess, little to no gravity, I think, right? And then secondly, I think it has to also work in some system out where it does some like reverse osmosis to like extract the liquid and reuse it in order for it to become drinking water for them out in the space station or whatever the case is. So I mean,
compost for experiments.
Right, separating feces from the liquid. And maybe that's, and I could be wrong, maybe that's the reason, but I don't know. I'm just
we don't get paid the $10 million to make the toilet.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. And you gotta use the toilet up in space, right?
Everyone's got a bum.
True. Exactly.
But yeah. So yeah, Marcos, I'm move on to my this was supposed to be my second point, but now this is my third.
Yeah.
Ready,
go ahead. Yes, sir.
So again, this is video game related, but this has some politics that Marcos likes. Right, Marcos?
Well,
does he?
He likes it when companies fight.
Oh, really?
So okay.
I say.
I'm listening.
So talking about PlayStation, and I guess in some sort, my Xbox. What's been going on, I think, since last year, I think sometime in November, is that Microsoft has been wanting to buy the company Activision for a while now. They've actually already like struck a deal. They're about to forward the contract, and they were ready to go. Now here's the issue: Sony, the makers of PlayStation, kind of halted that through the court system. By saying, this is like, I think they were comparing it to like they're becoming a monopoly, just because of the sheer influence that Activision has. We don't know, Activision is the game developers behind games like Call of Duty, Overwatch, Diablo, and a few other famous games.
Overwatch 2.
But they. No, but they're the game developers behind these extremely popular games, and the issue is that, especially with Call of Duty, Sony is very afraid that they'll make that into an exclusive. So Sony, I think this is kind of a scummy move. Sony went through the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, and convinced them to block the deal. The deal was set to 68. So mind you, keep your hats to your heads, Marcos.
Hold up. Let me take a seat. Ready.
The deal was already set to $68.7 billion for Activision / Blizzard to come into Microsoft. And Sony has already. They're like, no. Yeah, they're like, no. So it's been going on for a while. I think it's been going on since November of 2022. So as of right now, I think as of March, the EU, because mind you, since they are international companies, the EU is looking into just saying we approve this deal. So that at least in the UK market and the EU market, that's already done. But I think Sony has been trying to just say, no, we want this company, to not be part of Microsoft's, their active competitors as of right now, because, Xbox versus PlayStation, I think that's their number one thing right now. So let's see, what else? And then Microsoft has made a deal. Mind you, this is kind of funny too, has made a deal through all of this with Nintendo, saying that they will bring games like Call of Duty and others into Nintendo Switch for 10 years if they, if they're backing them up with their deal to take Activision.
Yo.
So basically they paid them to say, hey, if we get this company, we are agreeing to give you access to these games as long as you're on their side. And I think at this point they're like, yep, yes, for sure.
They're co-signing.
And mind you, Sony has been just going off. One of the statements they made is that I don't know how true it is, so take it with a grain of salt, is that they say that through the funds of selling Call of Duty and all these other games, this is the funds they make to create games like God of War or what else? Uncharted, Ratchet & Clank, basically all of their exclusive games. They get funding from selling Call of Duty and all that stuff. So they're like, they're saying like if Microsoft takes them, then we might not be able to fund our exclusive games. What's going on?
What?
And what else?
So because of their exclusive games not selling as much as open games, if it becomes exclusive, their exclusive games won't sell as much.
Yeah. So here's the quick update for what's going on right now. As of December, supposedly, these are the countries that have actually accepted the acquisition of Microsoft with Activision Blizzard. So far, the only countries that have actually approved this deal is Chile, Brazil, Saudi Arabia, and Serbia. Right now, they're having a deadline for this verdict through the European Commission to at least be delivered by April 25th. So by April 25th, we'll see if the deal goes through in the EU at the very least. But in the FTC's case, let's see. So Microsoft has subpoenaed Sony on January 17th, asking it to hand over its internal information to help build its defense against the lawsuit the Federal Trade Commission is bringing against its acquisition to Activision and Blizzard. Given the extent to which the FTC's case, along with other regulators' concerns, rest on Sony's complaint that this is a competitive position, that its competitive position will be weakened by its console rival acquiring Call of Duty and other Activision Blizzard games. Excuse me. It seems likely that Microsoft wants some internal data that will help them dispute this claim. Perhaps Sony releases or develops schedule of some sales or engagement data. Sony, for its part, will try to limit how much sensitive information has had to be shared with its competitor. But by pushing so hard for regulators to block the deal, it did open itself up to this kind of explosion. So right now they're still kind of iffy, I think, with the deal, at least here in the States.
Who's iffy? FCC or who?
The FTC. I think honestly both the European Union and the FTC.
But think, is that like a recent thing that they're worried about? Or is that like something that's been going on for a while since they announced the merger?
Oh, it's been since the position in the FTC and the EU has been iffy since I think as of the start of this year, because they're not really too sure based on what they've been given where this deal can go.
Okay.
So right now, at least as of right now, it's up in the air. Who knows what will happen? I think a lot of people are speculating that more than likely Microsoft will acquire Activision and Blizzard,
Most likely.
but they're not 100%. Yeah, they're not 100% sure.
Yeah, can I run my speculation by you guys about what I think?
Yeah.
All right, so I've been following this story since it broke. What was it, like 2 years ago? About. So the main reason why Microsoft wanted to merge or wanted to acquire Activision Blizzard was because Activision Blizzard was about to go bankrupt. I believe one of the major issues was, if I'm not mistaken, that the CEO of the company was running the company on E, bro. Like it wasn't a good look.
EA?
They were, yeah, and not E as in EA Sports either. It was more like they were doing some weird type of negotiations or business. Their way to go about their business, it wasn't going well, and financially it was looking really bad for them. And one of the only reasons, and let me try to like pick my words carefully here. One of the only reasons, from my understanding, that they kept the company afloat was because of the Sony exclusives that they would get, or the games that they would run by Sony for the PlayStation, obviously, where you didn't have access to those games on Microsoft Xbox until like either ever or until a certain period passes, right? So this type of contracts would work in that fashion, where Activision Blizzard would only have certain games exclusively for PlayStation, and Sony was perfectly fine with that because they were making bank through those actual exclusive games. The issue here was that because Activision Blizzard was not well financially, Microsoft saw an opportunity to pounce on that buy. So they were about to scoop up, the company. But this is when, the government was like, hey, no, don't do that. We don't want you to become a monopoly. Because one of the things that Microsoft was trying to do, or is trying to do for the people that probably don't know, they're trying to have their gaming system there, and I'm pretty sure most of you have seen it, the Xbox game app on Microsoft devices.
The Game Pass?
Right. But they wanted to do...
They've been recently promoting that.
Yeah, they've been wanting to do that for a while, where you can stream games, almost like a competitor to what you would get on Steam. And one
or
of
Stadia, rest in peace.
Right, and that's another company that really is pushing hard. And let me just throw this one out there. Another company that threw their hat in the game is Apple. And this is the reason why you see the major push on all these companies trying to do a Steam-esque type of product in order to satiate the masses and try to get more people to play games on their particular system or console. Now, what's interesting about this is that ultimately, because Sony kind of cried foul to the FCC and any other organization that would listen to them, it kind of put everything in standstill. So potentially, if Microsoft isn't able to get this W and pick up this company and basically save it from itself, because it was imploding as situations were developing, and I think one of the major issues I want to say issues that was happening in private at Activision Blizzard was the working conditions, let's say, for the people that work there. And I want to say, and I could be totally wrong, disclaimer, this is just from me remembering what happened about like a year and a half to 2 years. Yeah, definitely. there was some monkey business going on between like the mistreatment of people that work over there. I'm not going to say sexual harassment per se, but it wasn't a very hospitable situation. But point being is that now that you see something like this going on, where they kind of put a pause on whoever's going to pick up, or Microsoft in this case, picking up Activision Blizzard, it's left to be determined if maybe another company might want to throw their hat in the ring, like an Apple, like an Amazon, even maybe a Google that might want to pick that up. And what's to say? Who's to say if Sony might even want to pick it up, just because they were like, all right, because we're giving, or because we're allowed, or we're able to have this this connection with this company to get exclusive games, why not just buy the company outright and obviously have that little pocket of whatever exclusive that's going to go through the company of Activision Blizzard, and only be exclusively. This is where they kind of have this agreement, but that kind of gets shattered if they promise, in this case, if Microsoft kind of promises Nintendo, oh no, we got you with these exclusive games, because then Sony's in direct competition with Nintendo, and being that they're from the same country of origin, I guess you can say, that's not a good look for them, because now they have no other way to compete with Nintendo, because Nintendo is very, very safeguarded, or it has this moat around them, where I've never seen PlayStation have a Mario Kart. I've never seen, like, get what I'm saying? They also have that exclusivity where
would it go both ways with Nintendo and Microsoft?
Oh, of course, but Microsoft much rather make money because they're able to play ball, because it's not an exclusively Microsoft thing. They would be like, I guess you can say, like a acquisition company, unless they put it under the umbrella and make it Microsoft, which I don't know that they would be allowed to do that. They would probably have a situation more like say a Sprint had a Boost Mobile, right? And when T-Mobile bought Sprint, T-Mobile had to, or Sprint and T-Mobile had to sell Boost in order for them to be able to get acquired by a T-Mobile. So that's like a situation, that's like their I guess you can say their roundabout way to get through the deal and be able to do kind of what they want, and just, I guess you can say, getting rid of maybe a satellite company that maybe isn't making as much money as what they're trying to buy. So in this scenario, I guess my speculation would be, I wouldn't be surprised if a Sony or an Apple or an Amazon or a Google even might want to pick up the company and, I guess, get the cachet of all the games, the exclusives, and work out the kinks through their the contracts that they've already have established, with only giving Sony the exclusives for a certain time, and then allowing other companies to get the games at a later date, maybe like a year, 2 years down the road. And that's as far as I know, and I think it's very interesting to see what's going to go down, being that right now, I think one of the more interesting battles right now is like a Google versus Microsoft, since ChatGPT has been kind of like melded into Bing, and then the response of Google trying to like play catch up with them, right? And it's a crazy battlefield out there for these companies. So it's interesting to see all this competition. Do you guys have any speculations or thoughts, or you wanted to add to it?
Marco or Herman, what do you guys think?
I'll be honest, I wasn't focused on Activision Blizzard getting brought. I literally forgot about that. I'm gonna be honest, this is a BS. If that does happen, if they do go through it, because everybody broke color. I mean, I don't know, but you guys, but I grew up with Call of Duty, BO1, BO2, BO3, BO4, Modern Warfare, Modern Warfare 1, Modern Warfare 2. So just hearing that, it's just like upsetting personally. But I mean, hey, that's how it works. I guess that's the industry work as a company work. Gotta be.
Gotta go for that bag.
Yeah, I'll do it. Personally, for me, I'll do it. But I mean, it is what it is, right? That's all I can say. Bad information, though.
That is like the tea of the century for like gamers.
Yeah. Like I said, I wasn't too focused on that. Just here and now, like that. Yeah.
It could determine if the next Call of Duty is going to be on PlayStation.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, just imagine if it wasn't.
Josue looking at his PS5.
And then that Xbox just came out of nowhere. Like, oh, where did that come from?
No, on PC. You're playing Mario Kart on your PC.
Nah, I already do that now.
Oh.
The emulator, and I have the Switch right here with Mario Kart.
What do you think, Marco? What do you think?
About Activision?
Yeah.
I mean, it's business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I'll say this: if they did good with Mario Kart and all that, who knows? They probably will make Call of Duty better too. It depends,
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, think about that.
Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Mario Kart.
So
Mario Kart,
imagine they brought it up.
Racing in the maps.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mario Kart and Call of Duty for.
I mean, if you look at it, I mean, there's games like that on Xbox where you can actually shoot out, especially GTA. If you think about it.
Because
Racing,
Marco.
you got boom,
and that's right. Nintendo games, right? They do have like how do you call NBA 2K23 in it.
Oh yeah.
They have those games, and those games are from PlayStation also, and Xbox. So who knows? Call of Duty may be on them, and it'll be better.
What do you think, Omar? What do you think?
Well, personally, everything is kind of since they're both different franchises, I think they're just trying to optimize which way they can make more money. Because since all this trouble and like for example Google and ChatGPT, they're not looking for who can make the most, but how can they make more money without having to pay out their employees.
Revenue.
Oh yeah,
Because the AI thing is it's taking a lot of jobs.
I forgot about that.
It's taking a lot of jobs. These CEOs they're not focused on their employees. They're focused on what can drive them.
That bag.
There's America, there's
all about revenue.
There's no competition. Then that's how it'll ever be. It's what benefits. What benefits them. Unfortunately, if you're on the end of the employee side, it may not go well for you. But on their ends, they're finding ways to thrive. And if they can get rid of their big franchise competition, that's even better for them.
Double dip.
Nintendo's not known for it's mainly kids stuff. When do you hear play PG-13 games? But if Microsoft buys out Activision, they're gonna contract with Nintendo saying, you're gonna be with us until we say you're not, and then you cash out as much as you want on the money we're making or the products we're selling, because that's all you're gonna get.
That's true.
Money facts.
That's just that's how I see it on my end.
That's what they could say.
So we got a special guest here of ChatGPT came in. So this is what they said. They said, as an artificial intelligent language model, I do not have personal opinions or feelings. However, I can provide some insights and information about the acquisition of Activision Blizzard by Microsoft. So basically just saying that the deal is about $68.7 billion. Activision Blizzard is one of the largest gaming company in the world, known for popular franchises such as Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, and Candy Crush. I didn't know that.
There, done. Have a nice day, gentlemen.
So to summarize, he says, however, the Activision is still subject to regulatory approval. It may take some time before the deal is finalized. The gaming industry is also a dynamic, rapidly evolving market, and it remains to be seen how the Activision will affect the gaming landscape in the long term. So you heard it here, folks, from AI.
Yes.
Who knows? It doesn't have an opinion because it doesn't have feelings.
Right.
And also they're also making like trucks. My bad if I'm interrupting, but they're also trying to make more artificial intelligence like bots to replace like manufacturing machines, like to replace employees. Trucks, they're trying to go trucks that drive by themselves to different location points without having
doing
people.
That too.
Yeah, so
you mean like autonomy for certain things, right?
It's gonna keep happening, and it's just like this is just in the beginning of what could of possibilities that could go into the future, if as far as employment and them trying to minimize expenses towards say payroll.
All you gotta do is buy a bot and boom, you're chilling.
Josue knows plenty about that scenario since he kind of clarified a couple of things in a previous episode about how we aren't really at that stage, and then Josue can correct me if I'm wrong, where AI isn't quite there yet, where we're gonna have automated cars or automated taxi drivers, automated machines or robots, like for an example, like a I Am Legend type of scenario. I Am Legend, I'm sorry, iRobot or whatever the case is, with Will Smith. Where you have, I guess you could say, like a maid or a butler type of scenario going on.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
That's what Sony's saying.
Well, no, but I think I guess the place we're at right now is that we're at the cusp of like the beginning of computers learning enough so they can answer at least a couple of questions, and being amazed by a computer telling you what people already know. And it's like, unless you, I think there's a certain aspect of gimmick to it because it's new to us, right? But I mean, how did people used to get information before, right? If they're if they're literate and they're well read and they're well studied, I mean, people would probably go to an encyclopedia. But now that's a thing of the past, right? People more have an inclination to use their cell phones a lot more.
The world's knowledge in my hands.
Yeah, exactly. Or say, hey, or just to say, hey, X, or hey, Y, and whatever the company's speaker you have, and ask it a question.
Smart speaker.
Right, and ask it a question, and you getting an answer, like even as trivial as like, what's the weather like today? I think it's not quite where we think it's gonna be, right? And who's to say, maybe 5 years, 10 years, like how fast is that really gonna, or that change gonna be? Will it be in our lifetime? I don't know. Will it be before we retire?
Amazon will be a good product to look at. They're already trying to make self-delivery drones and all that. Without AI, I think they're gonna keep investing on it until, so far we've seen a lot of that in the news so far. I don't know if it's the beginning. I think we're in the middle of it, and if not further.
And interestingly that you said that, one of the companies, like a Google, has been losing, like bleeding out money. And the shareholders, like some of the bigger shareholders of the company, have written letters to Google saying, listen, you have to stop all this foolishness right now. You're not getting anywhere at the moment. And you're losing a lot of money, and you overhired people. You need to fire some people, get your money under control, and whatever side situations or investments you have in technology that isn't showing any fruit, you should really kind of like stop that at the moment, because it's not working out. And like Google, there's companies like obviously Tesla that are trying to go about it in a different way, but and they're competing. But I don't think, like, in order for you to actually get something on the road, on track to actually working like we kind of imagine or envision it to be, you're right. A lot of money has to get invested into it. And until it gets to the point where it's actually safe to be used amongst people, like that's still yet to be determined. Like you can go down to, I guess, Las Vegas, and you can use the Tesla, what's it called? There's a Tesla tunnel where you go from point A to point B, and it's all with cameras and sensors, and the car drives automatically by itself, and you're kind of like left in like kind of that sit down, relax, don't worry, and it gives you this like tour, right? Where the case is, and that's great and all, but that's only kind of like a semi concept, right? It's not perfect and it's not done. And again, when you have people involved, right, human beings in cars with a computer that's dictating and using, whether it be cameras or whether it be LiDAR, there's still technologies that are being developed to try to get it down pat so it's safe to use for everyday use. And I don't think it's still quite there yet.
It's not mundane.
Right, exactly. Josue, Marcos, or anybody, do you guys want to jump in and like speak on it? Like maybe you guys have some information I'm not aware of, probably.
I don't.
I got nothing.
Well, I'll tell you this. I think one of the companies, I don't remember the name, but ChatGPT, like it took the jobs from those workers. I think about like 3,000 to 4,000 people got fired. So
from where?
Yeah, because it's like how do you go? It did the job in like 10 like in minutes. It did it like in 1 minute or two, compared to workers that do it in a day or two. And then there's also
they didn't get
also
fired.
the art. And then there's the art one.
Oh,
it's
that's
also
another
making
thing.
You heard about the art one, remember? Yeah, those
the
are
thing
taking a
is
lot of
that,
artists' jobs.
The thing with the programming is that they didn't lose their jobs because of ChatGPT. I think that was tied with the laying off thousands of people because of the overhired people. That was like the big issue coming up earlier this year. Yeah, earlier this year, that a lot of companies fired a lot of companies fired a lot of people because they had way too much people in their offices. They're like, we can't have these many people because, you know, they originally could because of COVID, but now that COVID is dying down, it's like, yeah, we can't have these people anymore. But a lot of people have been caught using ChatGPT and they've been reprimanded. I know like a lot of people have, you know, companies are like, you can't use ChatGPT because that's a public source, you know, AI. And
cheating.
They store it. Well, no, it's like the issue is like they store that information. So what if they have like sensitive information relative to the company? Is like, no, we can't have that there. So
who created ChatGPT?
I think it was just some researchers looking for data, or a way to like train their essentially data for how does the human interact with like this AI. And it's ever evolving because it's you know, it's learning through the responses it gets and the questions you ask. So, you know, the more you ask of it, the smarter it gets.
Ask ChatGPT what's LTS.
That's shit. I'm sorry.
Hold on.
But
you want to do the whole name?
Yeah.
Sundry. It doesn't say you can't find anything reliable information on it.
Did you guys also hear about the news? I think in New York that they're in stores they're using face recognition or some type of artificial intelligence to know who you are before you come in or before you make a purchase.
China already?
Also in New York.
I thought that was done through like Amazon.
No, I didn't know that.
There's also, if you check the news in New York right now, because this also happened in New York.
What happened?
Before you enter a store, you have to get a Face ID. And it basically is checking all your info, and it could check more than just your regular, you know, records. And if you say you stole something, or it knows that you stole something, it's gonna know your info right away. So do you guys think that's a personal thing, or you think that's the right thing to go about, or you think Well, what do you guys think about that?
Well, like it depends on what your end goal is. If you want to, basically get more information on more people, then it's like, nah, I'd rather don't want that, because I don't want my information to be stored in some random drive that I don't know of.
Both true.
Can you track that?
They're doing it without consent. They're just doing it like, say you just show up and they say, oh, you can't enter the store without us taking a picture of you.
Yeah.
I just don't go in.
Yeah, don't go in, but it's gonna be a thing now.
It's like, I think it's fine if they if my face shows up in their video feed or whatnot. I was like, yeah, that's normal. But if they're then putting that picture through like a facial recognition, and it's like, okay, then and then they're getting information based off of that. It's like, okay, yeah, I don't need that.
And also, say you had a record that you didn't want people to know about, or say you had like, you've been in prison, or you've been some type of bad record you want people to know, it's gonna be there and you're gonna see it right away.
Yeah, which I mean, like if you apply for a job, I mean, they're gonna do a background check, and if they see that, that's it is what it is. But
now the background check is done before you even without even applying for a job, you go into a store.
Oh, there might be a caveat. You guys walk through here and abandon all privacy, that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's not going to be any privacy anymore.
Yeah, that's a slippery slope, guys.
Very slippery.
Yeah, that's not a good thing. Because, I mean, where do you draw the line?
Is there a line to be drawn even?
Well, yeah, safety over freedom, right?
It's basically violating our rights to privacy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we have to be kind of like careful and wary about how we explain this, right? Because sometimes we're placed in a situation where let me give you an example. So like, how many of you guys use iPhones?
Hey there, Marcos here. This marks the end of part 1 of this recording. Join us next week on the posting of part 2. Also, there's a video version of this podcast posted every Thursdays of the week. The podcast is posted on Tuesdays and the video on Thursdays, unless otherwise told. So, enjoy. From the bottom of my heart, Marcos and the LTS squad, signing out.